You're about to discover some important watch-outs if you're considering or about to go on a celebrity cruise. Hi, I'm Gary Bembridge, and this is another of my tips for travelers. Celebrity is part of the Royal Caribbean group. Celebrity is their premium cruise line. It has big ships and it competes with cruise lines such as Princess, Holland America, Cunard, and in the UK, P&O Cruises. Celebrity has a classic cruising fleet and also a very small expedition fleet, mostly focused on the Galapagos. In this video, I'm really focusing on the traditional classic cruise ships. At the time of recording this, they had 10 ships actually within that classic fleet, and already they have plans that will grow to 13 ships by 2022. They have 3 different classes of ship. They have the Millennium class, the Solstice class, and the Edge class. There are 4 Millennium class ships which came into service between 2000 and 2002, Millennium, Infinity, Summit, and Constellation. And they hold around 2,100 guests. There are 5 Solstice class ships, and they came into service between about 2009 and 2012. They hold around 2,850 guests, and they include the Equinox, which I'm on, Solstice, Eclipse, Silhouette, and Reflection. Edge is the most recent class of ships, and they came into service in 2018, with the first being Celebrity Edge, followed by Celebrity Apex in 2019, and there are plans to build 2 more Edge class ships. The Edge class brought in a new look and feel and design of some areas of the ship and the cabins, and those are being rolled out across the existing Millennium class and Solstice class ships, and that process will be completed by 2023. So very important, if you are booking Celebrity Cruise and you want to go with a new look and feel, make sure if your ship has already been retrofitted. Because they have quite a big fleet, they cover pretty much all of the world. So you can cruise to around 300 different destinations every single year. So they cruise, of course, the Caribbean. They also, though, cover the Mediterranean, the Far East and Australia. They go to Alaska. They'll go to New England, Canada, South America, the South Pacific, and the Middle East. So what do Celebrity do better, the same, or worse than other cruise lines in the premium category? I think there's probably 4 things that they do better. First of all, the ships. The ships themselves, although structurally are very similar to the other premium cruise lines, I think there is a look and a feel and a design element that does set them aside. So whilst the other premium ships tend to be much more traditional, much more classic, Celebrity, on the other hand, is very modern, it's very contemporary, and they are very much design-led. So even the existing ships, the Millennium and the Solstice class, they have a style and look to them which I think is very attractive. I really do like the flow of the ships, the design of the ships inside, and the feel. Of course, with the introduction of the Edge class, they're pushing some of those boundaries of design even more. So the hull has a different look and feel to it. Also, they've done some changes to the design and layout of the cabins, where they've got rid of the concept of a separate balcony. They've made the cabins effectively 20-odd% bigger, and they have created what they call infinite verandas, which are spaces within the cabin, and you have a sliding glass window which opens up to effectively create a balcony. Have the magic carpet down the side, which operates both partly as extending some of the restaurants and is most importantly used as a way of improving the whole tendering experience, because it creates a nice big platform to be able to tender with much bigger tenders to get people off the ship much quicker. The second thing they do is they've created a much more vibrant, a much more dynamic, in some ways a much more youthful take on the whole premium category. So the other premium brands tend to be relatively sedate, they're much more stuffy, they're certainly a lot more formal. Celebrity have introduced a much livelier and much more energetic take on premium cruising. So you'll find, for example, there's much more late night events, and they are much more popular, they're much busier, they have a much more relaxed dress code. They're more driven by technology, so for example the Wi-Fi is good and you can actually even stream on it. They have partnerships with Apple and they run training classes. They have an app which is pretty sophisticated, getting more sophisticated all the time. On Edge, it's taken to another degree where the app actually controls all your functions within your cabin. It's definitely a much more youthful, much more vibrant, and much more dynamic take on premium cruising. In my view, the third thing that they do better is the whole food and dining experience. Now, I'm not saying that the food and dining on the other premium lines isn't great, but I do think Celebrity ups the ante a bit. I found the food in all the free complimentary restaurants, so main dining room, the Ocean View Cafe, to be fantastic. The other thing they do is they have a really interesting take on specialty dining. It's a very integral part of the experience. These also differ a little bit based on the class of ship you're on. So let's take a look at the Solstice class, where I was on Equinox. They had 4 key specialty dining restaurants. They had Sushi on 5, which, as its name suggests, is sushi. They have the Tuscan Grill, which is an Italian sort of steakhouse. They have Murano, which is the French bistro, and Silk Harvest, which is an Asian fusion restaurant. As you move around the different classes of ships, you also have different dining experiences. So, for example, on the Edge class, instead of having one main large dining room, they've made 4 of those. Cosmopolitan, which is the more traditional one. They have Normandy, which is more French, Cyprus, which is more Mediterranean, and Tuscan, which is more Italian. When it comes to specialty dining, they have Fine Cut Steakhouse, Le Grand Bistro, which is French, Le Petit Chef and Friends, which is an interactive 3D table offering food from around the world, Raw on 5, which is more than just sushi, and they use the magic carpet when it's on deck 5 to extend Raw on 5, and when they take it to the top, they create dinner on the edge. They have Eden, which is a whole interactive world which has dining, and the rooftop garden grill. As you move around the different class of ships, you'll find different specialty dining experiences. The other premium cruise lines tend to have their set specialty dinings, their set restaurants, which they have across all of the ships. So I did like the fact that there's a bit more variety, and based on the ship, you can have different dining experience. But I thought the food was excellent. The other thing which I think is outstanding is service and the crew. Now, service, of course, across premium lines is pretty good. However, I thought that it was even better on Celebrity. Certainly you get a sense of a very happy ship, a very happy crew. And certainly what a lot of people have said to me before I went on Celebrity is the crew and service is excellent, and that was my experience. So what does Celebrity do that's the same or perhaps a little bit worse than the other premium lines? I think there's a couple of things here. First of all, although I did say that it has a slightly more modern take and a slightly more vibrant take on premium cruising, the reality is on Celebrity it's a very traditional cruising experience, as per the other premium cruise lines. So if you take a look at the daily program, you'll find the way that the day runs is basically the same as the other premium cruise lines. What Celebrity do though is they have what they call Celebrity Life. So all of their activities are structured under the Celebrity Life program, which makes me think they're probably going to try and build in more innovation. There's Taste, which are culinary activities. There's Learn, which are enrichment activities. There's Play, which are trivia and games. And there's Revive, which are wellness activities. The other thing which I thought was very similar to the other premium cruise lines is entertainment, particularly the production show and the guest artists. The shows follow very much the same formula as the other premium cruise lines, so they're song and dance review type shows. On the plus side, the shows on Celebrity use modern songs. They're all within the last 2 or 3 years, and so it was much more contemporary, much more modern. Again, linking back to that take on a more modern spin on the traditional premium cruising. So the shows were good, but they were pretty much the same in terms of style and approach to the other premium lines. When it comes to excursions and destination briefings, I think again it was very similar to the other premium cruise lines. In fact, even some of the mass market cruise lines. So excursions were your standard excursion fare. You had a wide range of excursions. The booklet had a lot of options and a lot of choices, but the excursions were very similar. You'd find them on other cruise lines. There wasn't a lot that was very different and unique. There was no very specific partnerships or things that were unusual. So in my view, who is Celebrity most suited for? First of all, you need to be looking for a premium cruising experience and a fairly traditional cruising experience. If you're looking for a slightly more contemporary, a more vibrant, a more upbeat, a more youthful take on that, then Celebrity is definitely for you. If you're looking for a more of a resort experience where there's lots of gimmicks and features on the ship, then Celebrity is not for you. So if you're looking to get dressed up in your tuxedo whilst you could on Celebrity, you're not going to find that across the ship. So if you're looking for that much more formal cruising experience, Celebrity is not for you. Usually on Celebrity, the average age is slightly younger than on the other premium cruise lines. So you're more likely to find an average age of 50s, and certainly you're going to find at certain times of the year, it could even coming down to the 40s. Of course, if you go on longer cruises or you go out of the key sort of holiday periods, the average age is probably going to be more similar to some of the other lines. A lot of families do come on Celebrity because they like the more modern take of traditional cruising. There is a limited amount of family cabins. There is, of course, kids clubs. Very importantly, it is English. Everything's done in English. So you can find most of the guests on board are American, Canadians, British travelers, and of course, wherever you cruise, you're always going to find a lot of Australians. If you're a solo traveler, one of the challenges of coming on Celebrity on most of the fleet is there aren't solo cabins. So you do pay quite a large premium for solo occupancy. So for example, I was cruising solo on this particular cruise and I paid a 50% premium for the cabin that I was in. On Edge, they've introduced, though, some more solo cabins, so the Edge class is starting to cater much more for solo. As a solo traveler, ideally look more at the Edge class, where you like to find a slightly more cost-effective way of cruising solo. One of the things I've found is people who like Celebrity really love Celebrity and are very, very loyal to that whole experience. Certainly if you want a more upbeat, a more vibrant way of cruising within a premium experience and a big ship experience, definitely take a look at Celebrity. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you watched many more of my Tips for Travelers videos. They're designed to help you make more of your very precious travel time and money on both land, sea, and on rivers.